this morning. We also want to thank those community entities that support Forsyth Futures. And we want to share with you a little bit of those who are contributing to our organization, who really share our vision, as you see it there. Our vision that we will, as residents and community organizations, effectively collaborate to focus on issues, make decisions, and take actions to improve the quality of our lives. We recently asked a couple people, for those of us who are not as familiar with Forsyth Futures, to talk about why Forsyth Futures and what we've been doing lately, and then we'll get on with some of our conversation.
The Foundation's been pleased to support Forsyth Futures, one selfishly, because we certainly learn a lot from that research, and it's in some ways an R&D arm for the Foundation. But we also see it as true to our mission, and that is improving the quality of life for the broader community. We know that the Forsyth Futures resource is there for other groups who are interested in particular areas or issues, and to have a central place for that information to be gathered and to be analyzed and to be shared just as economical, and also we think is in the best interest of the community.
Well, Forsyth Futures allows us to target our work and to understand more about the community, because Forsyth Futures offers us data that's local and insight into problems in the community that come from another outside lens, not just what we see about the community, but it's our ability to find someone else who sees those problems or sees them differently or supports us with data to understand the scope of the problem. So all of those things allow us to invest our dollars so much more wisely.
The Cape May Reynolds Charitable Trust are strong supporters of Forsyth Futures because Forsyth Futures helps us be more strategic. It helps us define our strategy, helps us better articulate our strategy, and it helps us better implement our strategy. We want everything we do to have impact and to be what the community needs. And we can't do that in a vacuum. We don't know everything. And we need to have an informed agenda. And that information comes from so many other people in our community, but the warehouse of those data is Forsyth Futures. And so for that reason, we want to know what's going on in a particular area, in the big picture, to know, should our agenda be here or here? Or is there a gap here or is there a gap here? Where could we be most impactful? And then on an individual grant basis, there are so many great ideas that come to us. And we have the ability to determine whether that may have its intended impact on a grant-specific basis. What we can't tell is that going to have a multiplier impact in the community. And the way to know that multiplier impact is whether there are other efforts going on that complement that support that would promote or extend any particular grant. So we're no longer just interested in funding the one grant. We're trying to fund impact and community development. And with that, we need data, and Forsyth Futures is the place for data.
Well, so you heard that we have been busy. Those of you who know us know that we've been really working hard to create and to connect to knowledge, to put our community knowledge to work. And one day we heard this story. You know, there's always a story when you come to a Forsyth Futures table. We heard this story, and it made us stop and think, and it made us change how we were doing things. And we wanted to share with you this story, albeit with a Forsyth Futures twist. The Village in the River, a community action fable. The villagers put their village by a river, much like the one in front of you. Yeah, that's what the tables are, they're rivers. And things were good for many, many years. Then came the time when the first resident drowned. She could not be economically self-sufficient. She couldn't be healthy. She couldn't reach her educational goals. And so, she couldn't ever participate again in our village. So the villagers started the first ever Save the Drowning Villagers program. But, oops, this might look familiar. Still, the villagers' trend was not going in the direction that they were hoping for. A growing number of drownings was evident. Despite a few efforts, and some great highlights in the media. The drowning villagers, those caught by the river's current, are homeless, the unemployed, those in need of healthy food, those entering school behind, those that don't graduate from high school, continue to drown. So the villagers went to work harder and harder. There were many more meetings and many more plans. They created more elaborate initiatives and strategies, programs. They tried to help each other work together, all to save the drowning villagers. So, talk to the people of the village today, and they'll speak with great pride about their plans for coordination. They were able to build some clinics and hospitals by the river. They created the life jacket advocacy program. They were able to have hundreds and hundreds of swimming lessons logged in, and created a force of lifeguards. They've all been very well trained. Some of these efforts, like I said, were well connected, and some were a little off. We decided we had to make an initiative for the villagers. So this is what it looks like. Some of those programs, in fact, ended up being run by or funded by almost 1,500 nonprofits, foundations, and service clubs, just in that one village. A little progress could be seen in some parts of the village. Those swimming lessons helped some, and the trend was still not changing. They had been working so diligently, these villagers, in the rescue and treatment, and in securing funding for the rescue and treatment efforts. How could this be? What could the villagers do now? Well, we believe the villagers should step back. The villagers could assess the data a little closer. They could check those trends. They could maybe even create a couple of maps. Take a good look at the efforts that were done today and see if maybe the answer is something else, so that they could step up. Step up in a more coordinated way. See, now maybe the villagers could create the Build the Bridges Over the River program, the Rails Around the River initiative, or maybe create the River Sign Posting Brigade. Now, we could do this, the village could do this with those people that are already available to us, these lifeguards, some of the people that we train. And it doesn't mean that we have to get rid of the swim lessons or to stop our life jacket advocacy program. In fact, throwing in a life jacket or jumping in because you can swim to help someone when there might be a crisis, when the river overflows, we still need that. But to really address this idea of the villagers drowning and keep drowning, we need to step back. We want the villagers to step back. Well, just as we asked the villagers to step back, we at Forsyth Futures also decided to step back. I'm going to ask Mari Crane now, our research and data director, to come up and share with you how Forsyth Futures is going to step up so that we can help step back, so that we can help all of us step up.
Good morning. As Doris mentioned, I'm Mari Crane, the Data and Research Director for Forsyth Futures. As a part of Forsyth Futures, my responsibilities are to maintain and update our indicators and to work with research teams on specific issue studies. I'd also like to introduce Elizabeth Perkins, in the back, if you want to stand up for a sec, a research analyst with Forsyth Futures, and Elizabeth is working with me on the updating of Forsyth Futures indicators. So in Forsyth Futures' efforts to step back, we decided to focus our list of indicators for the 2012-2013 fiscal year. This will allow us to complete a more in-depth study of these issues and develop 1 to 2 page making progress reports for each of the indicators. The following are the list of indicators that we have selected for the year. In the area of economic self-sufficiency, we are working with the 10-year plan to end homelessness and the Homeless Council of Winston-Salem, Forsyth County, to provide a picture of Forsyth County's homeless population to the larger community and to assist with the setting of target goals towards ending homelessness. The Making Progress report on homelessness in Forsyth County will be released in late fall 2012. Children ready for school. In the 2009 Making Progress report, Forsyth Futures introduced kindergarten readiness as an indicator. In an effort to expand this indicator, we are working with the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools and Smart Start to to determine the most appropriate measures to really understand how prepared Forsyth County children are to enter elementary school. Electoral participation. Since we're in a presidential election year, we've chosen to make electoral participation a focus indicator. We will look at how many eligible residents are registered to vote, how many are voting, and who is voting. A report on this indicator will be available in early 2013. Teenage pregnancy and infant health. As community efforts move forward to decrease the number of teenage pregnancies, we'll continue to report on the numbers of teenage pregnancies in Forsyth County. Given the connections between teenage pregnancy and infant health, we will also continue to update measures on the health of Forsyth County babies. In addition to these indicators, Forsyth Futures will also develop and complete specific issue studies over 2012-2013. The first of these studies is an assessment of the Forsyth County local food system. The goals of this study are to provide an objective assessment of the current local food system in Forsyth County and to serve as a catalyst to maximize the economic and social impact of local foods. For the purpose of the study, we are defining local food as fruits, vegetables, and livestock produced, raised, or processed within Forsyth County and the 7 surrounding counties, and the local food system as the producers, processors, and distributors of local food that serve Forsyth County, and the outlets through which consumers in Forsyth County purchase local food. While Forsyth Futures is the lead organization and project manager, we've developed a research team to assist with different areas of the study. Along with myself and Forsyth Futures, Marcus Hill is working as a research assistant for us. We have contracted with the Center for Environmental Farming Systems out of NC State to conduct stakeholder interviews and focus groups. The Winston-Salem Sustainability Resource Center is completing an analysis of policies impacting the local food system. And Forsyth County Cooperative Extension Service has served as a general advisor on the project. We also formed 2 advisory committees to guide the project. One, a stakeholder advisory committee, and the second focused on issues of access to local foods. And this study is supported and funded by Forsyth County and the Winston-Salem Foundation. The study will be wrapping up at the end of the year with a community release date in early 2013. In the winter and spring of 2013, Forsyth Futures will develop a second specific issue study in the area of physical and mental health. Currently, we are in the process of finalizing what issue we'll be looking at, and when we've determined the specific issue, we'll make sure to report back to the community. I'll now give the podium back to Doris.
So on your table, these indicators that Mari's talking about, you have a page like this. It's a gray sheet and it says 2012-2013 focus. And as Mari talked about, one of our greatest tools is our data and our capacity to give more information so that others can step back. Another thing that we do, you heard Sally mention, is the Initiascapes, and we hope it's becoming kind of a household word in our community. Initiascapes is a process and a tool that we created at Forsyth Futures for our community to be able to really look at who's working on an effort and how are those efforts connected or how they may not be connected. This year we're going to go ahead and update and work really hard on doing much more in-depth studies into how those things are working, how they're connected, how they're funded, so that we as a community can be proactive about how we're dealing with those things. So just as we're doing the indicators, all the indicators will have Initiascapes to go along with them. In addition, we're studying a couple of other areas. One, we're going to do local food system one, as Mari alluded to, that's been being studied by others. We're also going to include in that who's working on an effort to expand local foods. As we do our research and analysis of the landscape, we really want to be able to go deeper and deeper, as I mentioned. That will be my primary responsibility this year. And I will supervise all Initiascape research teams. Some of them are based at Forsyth Futures, and some of them we're doing with others. And one of the things that we want to ask is that we welcome the opportunity to help others create their own Initiascapes or other community groups to create their Initiascapes and allow us to be part of that process in whatever way we can, whether it's the data entry, the design of it, or going forward analyzing it. To that end, this year, some of you know my partner in crime, Camille Hairston, back there somewhere. Camille, as some of you know, has worked for Forsyth Futures for many years, just managing our office remarkably well. But this year, Camille is going to be working on being really in charge of the data entry. And Camille is now our community resources specialist. Camille is a great entry point to get this information. And Camille helps us teach others how to put that data into our website. Another thing that we're working on is we believe that there's some that need to be captured that lots of people are working on. One of them is financial literacy efforts. We're going to be looking into, and we're almost done with, who all is helping our community learn different ways or think about how to manage their finances. We're doing this with a group in our community that's working on building assets for our community. We're also doing one on services for Spanish speakers, healthcare access, and healthy food access. There are some special initiative studies, just as there are some special indicator studies. One of those is the faith-based organization study. Let me introduce Bailey Smith, who's over here. And Bailey has joined Forsyth Futures. She's a graduate intern from the Wake Divinity School. What is exciting about this study is that what we realized as we were studying sandboxes is just how much some 600, over 600 faith-based organizations do in our community. And that we have a responsibility to capture that and to think about how we leverage that resource better and how do we help each faith-based organization do what they can do best. So we're looking into that with a research team that Bailey and I lead of lots of faith-based community leaders and some volunteers. Another significant initiative that we're really excited about, or rather initiatives, because these are going to be many initiatives, is the ones that we're conducting in select Title I schools. Title I schools, of course, are the schools where we have probably our neediest children and families. I'd like to introduce two young ladies, Ren Wilson and Samantha Opachin, right here. Ren and Samantha have done something remarkable. They are volunteers in Services to America, and they chose Forsyth County to do their work. And what Ren and Samantha are doing is they are helping, if you can believe it, they're trying to capture all the amazing work that we as a community are trying to put into Title I schools and that Title I school staff and administrators are trying to do. So much is being done that this will give an opportunity to us as a community to step up when we're needed, to step back, maybe, when we have a great idea, and that's really not yet what the school needs, and to help our colleagues within the school district keep making really great decisions. We're excited about this, and AmeriCorps Vista believes that this could be a model for the whole nation. Another thing that we're doing is we're really going to work hard on other platforms, and how do we get things going. We also have one more idea for how we do this, and we're accepting more and more graduate students who are doing research. One of those students is not here this morning, but Stacy Field is working on something where she's identifying all the advocacy efforts and resources for families with children with disabilities. We think this is really important because, again, as we look at kind of these streams of information across our community, we're seeing that this is coming up more and more. Now, another exciting tool that we have that is actually going to go live here in October is Forsyth Futures EDU. Now, you met Marcus Hill. He's been working as a research assistant, but Marcus is also going to manage our Forsyth Futures EDU platform. When this goes live, this is a way for us and all of you to join us and start having an e-learning platform for the initiatives to come to life. What I mean by that is instead of just seeing who's in the sandbox, looking up some information about them, you're actually going to be able to get videos, uploads, materials from those organizations, and we also believe that that's an opportunity for things like spurring some synergies between us, for getting people outside our communities to see what we're doing, and we think that it could spur some entrepreneurial activities. We really believe that there is some commercial value for someone to step back and think about something they could do that's of commercial value to the community and to others. So we're going to be doing that. Through these videos, websites, materials, social media, we really think this can showcase our community. One of the courses we're most excited about that is going live, that I think you kind of can see there. We're going to have the local food one, of course, once that's done. But one of the ones that we're really excited about is an initiative that we did 2 or 3 years ago. It was called Skilled Resident, Skilled Citizen. And what that was about is the number, the sheer number, and the depth of the work that's being done to train people in our community. And in partnership with Forsyth Tech, and in particular Dean Harris, who's over there, we're working with them and all their partners, so Goodwill, the Urban League, anyone who's in that sandbox. We're going to highlight so that everyone can look at that and quickly assess who's working on something and get straight to their information. Again, our goal is that if you have a dream or a passion, Maybe there's someone else in town who's already started that dream, or that your dream can be added to so that their dream is even bigger, and your dream collectively is bigger. So we're going to be doing that. One other project that I want to highlight, and Harold Thompson, who's over there, is working on. Forsyth Futures is currently the project manager for something called the School and Community Data Sharing Project. And I really want to talk to all of you about this because it's important that if, as you know of others, that you share with them that this is going on. We're currently doing some pilot sites, but what we're doing is we're taking out-of-school time programs, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. What we're trying to do is find a way that their information on children and the great work that they're doing can be bridged with data in the school district, so that we can do a much better job of serving our youth. Now this is very, as you can imagine, it's very technically complex, and it requires that we're doing things so that data will be very secure and in a very timely manner. Our vision for this is that someday the colleagues inside the schools could see what's happening outside the schools with the children and how it's going. And that the colleagues and the people in the community and the volunteers outside the school can connect faster, so that a teacher might know right away whether a child did or didn't make it to their Boy Scout meeting, their Girl Scout meeting, if they're getting tutoring from 4 or 5 people. Or are they getting no tutoring? And how might we get that for them as a community? Very exciting stuff for us. All right, so why are you here this morning? You heard about what we're doing, and we want to tell you a little bit more about what we want you to do. All right, we want you to hear how some other people are in community feel about this, and let's just listen to that for a second.
You know, as a funder, the Winston-Salem Foundation is asked on a daily basis for support, and that support is broad, and sometimes is dealing with critical or crisis mode issues, and we have to make decisions that we feel are in the best interest of the community. But if you allow yourself to respond every time to a crisis, you don't always allow yourself ample time to stop and reflect at the larger picture of what are we really doing, what are the real needs and opportunities and challenges in our community, and what might we have to look at differently in a different light in order to have a real impact on a particular area. Forsyth Futures has been a partner with the foundation and has helped us analyze the needs and the challenges and the opportunities in this community over the last several years, and has given us tremendous insights at a different level than even we're able to peer into the community. And we feel we're making better decisions based on that information and that partnership with Forsyth Futures.
Whenever you are engaged in a process, you should always stop and step back a little and look at the process in a bigger picture and a bigger context, and think about what have we done so far, what would we do differently if we had known when we started, and how can we tailor the process, revise the process, or just tinker with it a little bit in order to get us to a stronger outcome. But to assume that we knew everything we needed to know when we started the process means that you're going to end up with something that probably isn't going to be nearly as effective as if you step back in the middle of the process occasionally and look at where are we going in the direction we want to go in, and then if not, how do we continue to make sure that we're making the kind of progress we expected to on the very first day of this.
There are so many complex problems in this community that we all have an interest in. Education, healthcare, elimination of poverty, you name it. And we're all very busy doing things. We're all very project driven. And at some point we have to stop and say, wait, let's take a moment to step back and say, have we missed anything? Does the approach we're taking, is it still relevant? Are there better approaches? Is there actually someone doing this better than us that we could combine with? Or is there enough of this happening and we need to think about something else? So the stepping back to take stock is a way to reflect. And that reflection is what we need as a community, because out of reflection can come our inspiration and our new direction.
All right, so here we go. So we have asked you all to come today because we need your help. We want you to help us spread a movement, to make our community take all the tools that we have, all the passions that we have together, to step back so we can step better. And we're going to ask you to do just 3 things for us. One is we need your help. Last year we kind of announced that we have this way of people submitting their initiative. Well, we need help filling up that database. We want to capture everything that's happening in this town. In front of you, you have a form that says submit your local initiative. That's a copy of what it looks like to go online and fill in information about the local initiative. By doing this, if you can help us get people to come online or let us know and we'll fill it out, or send us an email and we'll talk about it, by putting this information into the database, we're going to be able to do 2 things. One is capture that when we need to figure out an initiative. Who's in the sandbox doing something? Who could be in the sandbox who's not doing something? But then it'll also serve as a resource directory. We have the opportunity to use this database, but we need your help. It's been tough to capture everything we're doing. Despite us being out there and despite some of you trying to help us with that, we really, really want you to get out there and help us put in all the hard work that's being done in our community. Whether it's a program, an organization, or even a campaign. There are several campaigns that we've got as a community going on. Some of them are conflicting sometimes. We have lots of different messages. And so we want to just showcase that for our community and say, look, this is what we've been working on. Here's this group that's got this passion and they're going down this road. How might we bring those roads together? So I wanted to share with you that, and I'd like you to consider doing that first thing for us. Help us out with that. The second thing that we're going to do, Mari Crane's going to tell you a little bit. How we need you to help us share this movement.
So we're also asking for everybody to help spread the word about this movement through social media. So in front of you on the tables is a framed logo with the Step Back, Step Up logo. And on the back are instructions for what to do with it. We're asking that you take the picture frame and place it at your office, in a meeting, at dinner one night with friends, and take a photo of it like these. And then through Facebook or Twitter, post it on social media with the following hashtag Step Back, Step Up. If you don't have a Facebook or Twitter account, please email it to us and we'll be happy to post it for you.
In addition to that, we have Kathy Watts, who's back there, and Kathy's been helping us, and so Kathy's going to check. We're going to check with you guys and check on you guys to see if this is going viral. We need your help. Take those pictures for us. In fact, we're going to give you another opportunity to do that too this morning. So in front of you, the last thing we're going to ask you to do, it's a very wise person told me a couple of months ago that you never leave a meeting without a commitment. And so people go around the table now in town, it's kind of catching on. We go around the table and we say, I commit to doing this, I commit to doing that, but you know what? We never put it in writing. The other thing that we don't, so that somebody can check back on us, the other thing is that we get to this mode where people go, well, you know, they always let you off the hook. Well, let me think about that. I'll come back to you with my commitment. Well, guess what? You get back to your office, you get back to the work you're doing, you get back to the villagers you're taking care of, and that commitment kind of slides sometimes a little bit. Sometimes we get through it, sometimes we don't. So here's what we need you to do. Fill out that commitment card. Tell us what you're going to commit to. What will you do? I will step back. By. What's one thing you're going to do? Where are you going to put this? Where are you going to talk to people about this? To help you with that, on the back of one of the sheet that says 2012-20 Focus are some questions that we ourselves ask or ask others when we do work. Consider those questions. Many of them will look familiar to you. In fact, some of them we learned from you. But we want you to think about some of those questions and which ones apply the next time, or as you're working through now, stepping back to step up. So please fill out this commitment card. In addition, so that we can connect better to you on some of these focus areas, check the ones that kind of match, or could match, that we're working on that could match what you're stepping back for. Now, there's one more thing. So you got to go public with it, and you got to do it today. It's not enough just to fill out the card. Not going to let you do that. If you can, we're going to ask you to take a little time to talk to each other. Go public with the person next to you, across from you. Meet some neighbors. And tell them what you're going to step up to step back. And on the way out the door, Harold and a couple of us have a camera. And we need you to go public with them. We need you to go on camera if you're willing, which of course you have to sign the back of the card to tell us that you're willing. Little legal stuff there, which we are grateful for. Sign that back of that card and go public and either just read that card to us or make a statement about why you think our community needs to step back, to step up. And that too will be part of the campaign. So no getting off the hook today. These are real commitments if you can. We appreciate that. We are very grateful that you're here this morning. Those of you who know me know that the coffee's kicking in. So we got you through fast. We hope your coffee's kicking in. Please eat more. Talk to your neighbors. Don't leave without going public. We need you to do that. Yep. You have a card?
Yeah, no, I have a card, but the question is, are you asking for a commitment on one of these 5 initiatives? Or
No, anything that you're going to do. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, anything that you're going to do, and then if you can, tell us about. If you're working on something else, please do that. How you're going to step back in some way. So you're going to help a group step back, an organization, your work. How are you going to step back to step up? What you're going to look for. But then help us by telling us also what it connects to. If it connects to, we think it might, to some of the things that we're working on, so that we can make sure, we will definitely get all of you that information, but we want to make sure that we're checking on how this idea that you're stepping back to may help us step up better. Thank you. All right, so we want you to turn around, enjoy the river in front of you, think about the villagers that are in that river that you take care of, the part of the river that you take care of in our community, and step up for us, step back, do your commitment card, and thank you so much, and have a wonderful weekend.